It always hurts. It hurts everybody. But at the end of the day, inflation we need to get under control. We need to start trying to stabilise the country and stabilise the economy. So, you know, it will impact a lot of investment decisions for some people. But then if we end up with a longer-term strategy regarding annual investment allowances and the super deduction, then we might be able to offset that.
What, so you think this might concentrate the politicians' minds in whatever government we get in September as to how to help out and particularly on the tax issues?
I would certainly hope so. At the end of the day, you know, manufacturing is an industry that requires a lot of investment. You know, the machinery that we buy is not cheap.
And it's always sort of been slightly out of favour or out of fashion, if I can put it that, with politicians. Remembering, you know, going back to Tony Blair, that, you know, the economy was knowledge-based, he said. Manufacturing is all a bit old hat, you know, banging bits of metal to make stuff.
The perceptions are so outdated. This is one of my biggest frustrations. I've been fighting about this for about 25 years now. You look at the manufacturing businesses today, and they're light, they're bright, they're high-tech. Yeah. You know, we are...
And across the country, I mean,
absolutely.
in terms of the geographical spread.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we're not an industry that shouts about ourselves enough. We don't...
Because you're too busy making stuff, I guess.
Yeah, we're too busy making sure that everybody's got the day-to-day items that they need to use and get around and, you know, function. Yeah,
we should add, we're not seeing pictures of your factory here. This is sort of manufacturing in general. But, I mean, how do you fit in? Because you've got some really high-profile customers, I mean, Rolls-Royce, and you're also involved in making stuff for, what, nuclear submarines as well?
Yeah, and aeroplanes, helicopters, F1 cars.
Oh, wow.
You know, we've made components that have gone on to film sets, you know, cannons for Master and Commander. It's such an exciting and invigorating industry.
So how have you coped, obviously, with the pandemic, and now coming out of that, how expensive components to make stuff have become? We know, for instance, the automotive industry, you know, can't get enough computer chips to make cars, for instance.
Yeah, I mean, it was difficult. COVID was very difficult. There were some very confusing messages at the beginning, so a lot of businesses closed, a lot of my customers closed.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it was clarified, and no, you can open as long as you have all the protocols in place. So it did, you know, knock us back. We lost quite a lot of revenue. Thankfully, the government and Make UK and people like them were very good at getting the JRS scheme in, particularly when we ended up with flexible furlough.
Right, I was going to say, did furlough actually do a lot for you?
It helped us retain skills. But what we should have really had is, right at the beginning, a flexible furlough where we could actually train with that, because we could have upskilled and cross-skilled.
OK, so, but political question, did Rishi Sunak do the right thing then for you?
Yes. Yeah, because at the end of the day, the skill sets that we have within our factory, our expertise and our engineers are absolutely outstanding. But we don't have anywhere that can train the people that we need on the machinery we use. And this is one of the problems. You said in your opening introduction to the programme that we want more support. We don't. As manufacturers and SMEs and engineering businesses...
that's small and medium enterprises.
Yeah. We don't want more support. We want better use of the support that's there. We want better and easier access to it.
So how would that take place? What would you tell a new government about... You know, do you need, for instance, a minister for manufacturing?
We need a minister, or we need a voice for SMEs. So over the last 25 years, I've sat on a variety of panels trying to change, you know, how we approach skills, how we approach investment, how we look at strategy. I've contributed towards so many strategy documents, and yet it was scrapped again last year.
And is this as simple as apprentice schemes, for instance, being supported?
Yeah, it's, you know, you look, the apprenticeship levy was brought in, mainly for larger businesses. All it's done is discourage apprenticeships. We have a postcode lottery in terms of government support for businesses.
And you're in Bedfordshire at the moment, yeah.
It depends on how good your LEP is, how good your chamber is, as to how many SMEs are actually getting to hear about the support that's there. Out of 15 schemes that are in existence, when Make UK polled, there was only 3 that were known to most SMEs, and that was super deduction, the R&D tax credits.
Right, and so local businesses of chambers of commerce and so on, they're not expert enough to help you on that sort of area?
They're expert enough, but they haven't got the resource to get out to everybody. You know, SMEs are 1 to 249, 250 employees. And there could be 800, 5,000 in your region. Yeah. How do you get to them all? There has to be a better way of communicating the support and then simplifying it.
So where do you go from here now, looking well, we might have to have a general election within 2 years. I mean, as a business, I guess you've got to look further ahead than that, 5 years, maybe even 10 years.
Yeah.
And we're always told that the politicians think short term when business really has got to make strategic decisions for a longer period.
Yeah. Engineering and manufacturing, the equipment that we invest in, we're looking at 3, 5, 10-year investment strategies. You know, we've just embarked on a sharing in growth programme, which is a business transformation, fully funded programme, which normally would only be open to businesses over 10 million sales. But we've managed to be able to apply and successfully get on the programme. But it's a 3-5 year plan.
Yeah, and I guess you need to know then what sort of tax breaks you'd get on investment. And you know, corporation tax, 25%. I mean, how would that hit you coming up next year or this year?
It's always hard when taxes are increased, but corporation tax, at the end of the day, is only paid if you're making good profits. However, we should be able to offset that if we're investing in equipment that's going to improve productivity.
Because that's tax deductible very often,
And at the end of the day, you know, we shouldn't have to pay corporation tax on profits when we're reinvesting all those profits.
One thing you mentioned to me, which is quite interesting, that big discussions going on about nuclear and whether actually we've ignored the nuclear sector in terms of producing power, and the French, for instance, and the Germans that seem to abandon it. You're directly involved now with the nuclear industry as well.
We're in the supply chain.
Yeah.
But again, we're very far down the food.
Yeah, obviously we can't give too many state secrets away, but I mean, this again could be quite a success story for UK PLC.
Yeah, absolutely. Along with renewables. You know, but we have big businesses. We have amazing manufacturers like BAE, Rolls-Royce. They feed into government on a regular basis, but nobody from their supply chain has been able to feed into government. So we're not getting across the fact that there is so much brilliant support they're offering us, but they're not targeting it in the right areas or helping to deliver it in the right way. Productivity, they keep saying UK's down on productivity, but the grants,
maybe that's why.
The grants you apply for, they want you to employ people, whereas you want to actually just increase productivity and not necessarily employ more.